Now, this is a good segue for something interesting that you could, if you've ever dealt with a trigger that has a screw in it that somebody's Loctited. If you want to get that out, what you don't use a torch, don't throw it in the oven. Use a soldering iron. Let that soldering iron heat up to temperature, and then place it on the screw and let it heat up your thread locker for a minute or two. Basically, you're gonna feel the trigger shoe start to get warm, and that's about the time that you're ready. Put that soldering iron somewhere safe. Do not burn yourself, and then you can get that screw out. That is the easy way to get a thread locked screw out of a trigger, or just about anything that maybe you don't want to use a torch on or throw it in the oven. Use a soldering iron. That's something I learned when I first started working with Steel City Arsenal, and he was very adamant about putting Loctite on all of his screws so that people wouldn't screw with them. I understand that. I get that. So, but of course, I had to modify my triggers, and I was always stripping out the screws. I was trying to find good ways to do it, and then it hit me, a soldering iron. So yeah, don't use a torch, don't use an oven. Use a soldering iron. It works really, really well, and it's gonna melt that thread locker up to temperature, and it's just gonna come right out. It saved me so much time and frustration. It got to the point where I did everything I could not to mess with those. So there it is. That's one of those neat little tips. Maybe I'll cut that guy out and put it as a regular video on the channel, because that tip is a lifesaver.